You know, that's part of our motif. That's what makes us special.
Yeah.
That's what gives us our flavor. Aha. Well, God bless you. God bless you. God bless every
God
one of
bless
you. You
you.
heard them.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
said my name, so you
Yep.
know who I am. You know what this is. I am Pastor J.E. Sturdivant. I am the pastor of the Faith United Ministries, and this is Back to Basics Eyes of Faith radio broadcast,
All right.
where we wind up taking everyday issues, answering them with biblical principles so that you can apply them to your everyday
Absolutely.
life. We are here in the very fine studios of Faith United Ministries, located 7905 Fernham Lane in District Heights, Maryland. You know this guy behind me on the screen? That is me. I'm standing over me because I've got my back.
Yes.
I've got
Got your own back.
See him?
You can't always depend on everybody else. You better have your own back.
Yeah.
We want to welcome the Church Talk Radio
Hey.
family. We are so
Talk.
happy to have you all there.
Church
Thank you,
Talk.
Lady Michelle. She is the one holding us down on the other side of the glass, and we're making it very, very well known to you all that she is the reason why you all are able to hear us wherever you are hearing us. You know, she's the one making it happen. And we also have, you know, I've never seen that sign before. Yeah, and we also have Miss Lisa Chu
Yay.
making this happen.
Lisa,
She is
Lisa,
the
Lisa.
one that keeps us on the air. And we're so very, very excited about her. And I have here with me on the left of me, you all on Church Talk, you all don't know it because just imagine it from your phone. Or whatever your device is where you're listening, I've got StephTheBest.net, .org, .com, the DOT, box of dots, .edu. She is here and she is fresh off of a little bit of R&R,
Yeah.
rest and relaxation over there in the Dominican Republic, and she is here. She got some R&R in the DNR.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you did.
There you go.
Greet the people and greet YouTube family and everybody.
Hey, Church Talk, YouTube, good afternoon.
Hey.
It's the second dose. I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm ready. Let's get some basic teaching. And make sure you tell somebody to tune in with you.
Yeah.
Share it.
Yeah.
Tell them that it's something that they need to hear. Because I don't know what it is, but ever since we transitioned to YouTube, we don't have as many people watching at
Right.
the moment. But I know they still need it. And
Yeah,
maybe
they
the
still
kids
need
feel
it.
lost in translation. Is that?
Yeah, translation,
Yeah,
transition,
all the
everything.
time.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
They got a little lost, so help them find their way back.
Please,
Yeah.
come on, find your way back home. Thank you.
Right.
Okay, there we see. Okay, and on the right of me, I have her. She is here.
Hey.
Both of them have been over there and got tanned and all that kind of stuff. But here she is. She is Josiah.
What?
Okay, so I figure how long we want to hold that.
That was it.
You know.
That was it.
But she's here. She's
And
here,
yeah.
and she brought back some salsa in her clapping and everything. She caught us by total
did.
surprise earlier. But
did.
you know, hey, listen, you go, and when in Rome, you do as the Romans
You
do.
know, you know.
Or
you
when
gotta,
you're
you gotta
in
fit in.
areas of other
Dominican
nationalities,
Republic,
you do that stuff too.
Espanol when you're in.
Boy, wait a minute.
All of that. All
Right,
of
right,
that.
right. Mushy beans, muy bien. Mushy beans,
What
Mushy
are you doing?
mushy beans and gravy.
Reset for
Yeah,
rice.
muy bien, gracias.
Yeah.
It's mushy beans and gravy. Mushy beans and gravy. We're probably so offensive to other nationalities
So
on
sorry.
so many levels
So sorry.
right about now.
So
So
sorry.
we apologize for all of our Hispanic
Right.
We
brothers
just
and
we
sisters.
trying. We're learning. We have to download the translation app so we can
Yeah.
step out.
Yeah, and we
in
tried to do that,
the
and Siri totally ignored us.
Yeah, she
Once she
was-
got back here,
yeah.
she was like, "I'm still over
Right,
there."
yeah. I haven't called back yet.
Siri is not back making, she's not doing translations. But greet the people, Janice.
Hey everybody. Hey Church Talk.
Yep.
Hey y'all. We are back and we are here. We're glad to be here. I appreciate this clapping thing is throwing me off because I was
Yeah,
just
'cause
watching. You know what? I was watching Kevin Hart, and you know how he did a stand up, and he was like, "How we females, you know, whenever we want to get something across,
Right.
we gotta clap and say something with it.
Right.
Or you're not gonna go ahead."
Right.
Sorry, this clapping just kind of threw me off. I'm sorry.
Right.
Look, Church Talk, we are happy to be here, and
You
we're
talking
excited.
Ebonics and trying to clap Hispanic.
Right.
How do we
To
do
God be the glory.
Wait a minute. God be the glory. Really?
Sorry, Lady Michelle. Look, so the clapper thing just came back with me because they clap with everything. They like, hey, hey. So it stuck with me. I got to let go of the clap.
But we
thing.
weren't there.
Yeah, no, you wasn't.
So it's not doing us any
Tracy
good
Jeffries, I'm
to-
sorry. Please don't laugh. This is.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get
yeah,
back
yeah,
to
yeah,
America.
yeah,
Coming back
yeah.
to America.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So,
Coming back to America. Remake the movie. Go ahead.
Right.
We're excited to be here this morning. If you missed this morning's episode of Back to Basics, Eyes of Faith, when I tell you all, it's every week, and it's not something that we just say, but every week we learn something. Steph and I are privileged to be under the teaching, even though we are the co-hosts, but we are also ones that receive the teachings, and it's enlightening and shows us a lot as it relates to how we are, the way that we are. So if you're not tuning in, you have to, do this for yourself because it's needed. And as Steph stated, as far as sharing the YouTube, we do have it when once you're on YouTube, you can share it and it can become on your Facebook page. You can send it as a message to your friends or family. It doesn't just have to stay on YouTube. That's the beautiful thing. That's why we upgraded, because it does a lot more. So please, those that are tuning into YouTube, let them know that they can be a part, and then also share it with them. But this is a good segment. It's a good teaching because it's back to basics, and we use that simply as it is, back to basics. We're trying to bring you all back to the base, back down memory lane.
Really? Okay.
Hey.
Let's get back to Eden. Live on top of the world. See how she went to Minnie Riperton? She ain't saved. I went to Donald Lawrence. I'm going to give you Jesus.
Right.
I'm going to give you Jesus. She...
Go back to
Wait a minute,
the
no.
altar.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
No, but we are back to basics, and we are giving you some basic teachings that's going to help you in scriptural foundation, and it's going to help your life, your family life, your relationships.
Right.
It's so needed. And this guy right here, we gotta salute him because we just celebrated in August 38 years of him preaching.
Yeah, that was a lot right there.
Yeah, 38 years. Can you imagine somebody standing in the pulpit and preaching the word of God, going around the world for 38 years? He was doing that.
Something fresh, something new every time you stand up. Who's
So you
doing
got
this?
38 years of preaching in August, and then 2 weeks ago he just celebrated 40 years of being married. So we just been having a lot of celebrations
My
with you.
God. Yeah.
So you've been doing some things that apparently your life has been good.
I'm praying that it has been. It's bad if you've lived on this planet for 38, 40 years or whatever, and your life has not made a difference
it's
anywhere.
nothing you can
And
say
so
for it.
I'm just praying that all of the experiences, and this is what I try to bring every time we're doing the Back to Basics, is that they say we're transparent. Your saying was that if you tell your story, then
It's
it's...
testimony.
But if somebody else tells it,
It's gossip.
So what I'm doing is I'm just taking this opportunity to tell my own story so that you're able to learn something. We all know that experience is the best teacher, but the experience doesn't have to be yours for you to learn from it. You can learn from somebody else's experiences. So I come on here telling things that I have gone through, things that I have survived, put it with some biblical concepts, as well as taking the word of God and bring it into everyday life. And as Janice said, whenever we start teaching, we wind up learning stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
The moment that you think that you know it all, you cease to live.
Sure.
Because you can only grow by information. And the moment you stop taking information in, you cease to grow. Once you cease to grow, you begin to regress. The moment you regress, you start going back to your origin, which means you go back to the dust. In other words, you start to die.
Yeah.
And so you've got to always be open for someone else to tell you something. Don't ever think, well, I've been doing this all my life. Yes, but it's changed. You know, I've been writing all of my life, but today people text.
Yeah.
Right.
And they do everything else. So
Yeah.
just because you've been doing a thing all your life does not mean that there's not a better way. Even Paul said that you've done this, that, and the other. And then he comes and says, but behold, I show you a more excellent way. There's always a more excellent way. Even in living your life as a Christian, you go from grace to grace, faith to faith. You go from glory to glory because there are different levels of things. So some people get saved and all they've ever been was saved, but they've never gone into the miraculous of their salvation, or they've never gone into where they are now not just being saved, but helping others to get saved.
Yeah.
See, so there are always other levels, and until you decide you want more than just the basics, and that's why we give you the back to basics. You can say, my God, if what they're giving us is basic, then what have I been getting when I never got this?
Yeah.
You know, so I just wanted to kind of tell you all, get this stuff. My daughters, they're talking, they're telling it. We're learning from each other as we're going along. They're teaching me some things. Hopefully I'm teaching them some things, you know, so that we can all learn together. If all you have, and y'all get this, hold on to it. If nobody's ever told you, hold on to this one. If all you have is you as a student and you as a teacher, meaning that all you know is what you know, then that means you have an idiot for a student and an idiot for a teacher, because you are only as bright as you are and can only give as much information as you know. So you ought to always be ever learning. What book are you reading this month? What are you reading this year? How many books have you purposed to read this year? How well are you doing with keeping that up? What's your prayer life like? What's going on in your own intimate world? What is happening with you and God? And so if you've not been reading, if you've not been spending time on your face with God, if you've not been seeking Him for something more, then you're going to be at the same place. Though you may have been saved for 40 years, you're going to be at the same place that you were when you first got saved 40 years ago. I shared with them on this past Sunday that one of the worst things that can happen is for you to be saved but haven't got no fire since you've been saved. The Bible says that the question was asked, have you received the Holy Ghost since you believe? And the people said, we didn't even know that there was a Holy Ghost, which means that they were believers but had no fire. And there are some that are listening to me, watching me right now, and I'm not doubting whether you are saved, but I'm telling you, you ain't got no power. Let me hear your prayers, and I can tell you whether you got power. Let me see what you struggle with, and I can tell you whether you got power. Let me see the type of people that are still attracted to you, and you're still attracted to, and I can tell you whether your life has changed. If you are still wanting, desiring what you were wanting and desiring before you got saved, then the question is, maybe you're not genuinely saved anyhow. I dealt with it on Sunday. You may want to go on my page, look at it, and see it. This might be one of the last weeks you're going to get to see any of our sermons done live. But I shared with them that you've got to try to figure out whether or not you're really saved. Someone asking a person that's saved lose their salvation. My question is, if you were ever really saved, would you be doing anything to make you lose it? So I got another question for you. That's why we're going back to basics. Go on, daughter.
So on that note, with all that he shared, and you heard the wisdom that he shared, and not only is he a teacher, not only is he a speaker, not only is he a preacher, but he's also an author. And he has written 6 books, I'm telling you, that's going to be life-changing to you. We talk about it every week, and we hope that you have gone on his personal website to look at these books. You will see a synopsis of it. You will see a video of him talking about it. You need to make this investment. Everybody's doing early Christmas shopping this year. Well, here you go. This is the best gift, because this type of teaching and this type of wisdom, it doesn't go out of style. It doesn't last only for a year. You may get the Jordans, and the Jordans gonna last for a year. And
Not even a year. They go for the new ones are coming out while you buying these right now.
Exactly.
So they're not. You know, somebody asked me a question on, and this was interesting because you can ask me questions on YouTube and I can respond. And they asked me on the book, Hearing and Knowing the Voice of God. They said to me, they said, Daddy, how can a single African man hear God's voice as it relates to female relationship? And I responded to him and I told him that once you know the voice of God, his voice is the same, whether it's about a female, whether it's about a job, whether it's about a career.
Yep.
His voice doesn't change. It's almost like people think that God turns into a ventriloquist and starts changing his voice to try to fool you. When you ask him something, you ask him about money, he's going to sound a certain way.
Yeah.
You ask him about relationship, he's going to sound the same way. You know, if my daughter calls my phone number and she says, "Hey, Dad," then when she talks to me, I'm not going to try to change my voice.
Hello. I don't know if you really got me. Are you sure you dialed the right number?
No, I am who I am whenever she calls me. My voice is the same. If you call the number, the only person that's going to pick up is the one that you called.
I think sometimes people have lost the number.
There you are,
And they forgot what to
operator. Give me long distance. I want Jesus on the line. See, people don't know, you know, they don't know how to get in touch with the Holy Ghost is the operator. The Holy Ghost. But they've lost the number.
Lost the number.
Or they haven't talked to him in
In
so
a
long.
they forgot what he sounded
He
like.
changed his number.
No,
It's like-
it's the same person.
He's like, God done changed his number, he ain't hearing me. No, the question is, are you talking with him? Or have you listened to yourself? Because there are only three primary voices, which is what I deal with in that book, Hearing and Knowing the Voice of God. There are only three primary voices: the voice of God, the voice of the enemy, and the voice of your own flesh. And those other two books on what does your flesh have to say, and knowing, recognizing when the devil speaks, they're in the hands of my, what would I call the guy? My editor. I've just got to get together the money.
Yeah.
And then those books will be out. Everybody keeps saying, "You keep talking about those books, where they at?" Where's the Cash App?
So here we go. So if you want any of these books and you want to make an investment in your life, you want to make an investment in this ministry, you can do that. You can go on his personal webpage,
Come on.
and that's www.JESturdivantministries.com.
STRIES.
Again, www.JESturdivantministries.com.
STRIES.
You can go ahead and purchase the book for yourself or anybody, and we will go ahead and ship that out to you as soon as we see it. And if you want to be a blessing and say thank you, Pastor, for all that you are and all that you have done and doing, and I just want to sow a seed just to say keep doing what you're doing. You can do that electronically by going to the Cash App handle, and that's the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Again, if you want to sow a seed, you can do that via Cash App, and that's the $, capital D, lowercase r, capital J, capital E, capital S. Or if you're not electronic savvy and you old school and you want Pastor Sturdivant to be a part of your next engagement event, and you want him to
And I have been traveling quite a
He's been
bit.
traveling. Actually, your schedule this year has been
It's
pretty
been bananas.
amazing.
It's been bananas. You
Yeah.
know, before you even give that out, can we please thank Church Talk, because the last time we were on
We
here,
did thank 'em
all
last
three of
week.
us
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
because I was not here.
Yeah.
They made it possible,
Amazing.
and we flew up.
Yep.
Lisa Chu set it up.
Yes, she did.
Lady Michelle hooked it up, and we wound up booking and flying up
Yeah.
to New York, and we went there. We want to thank the Church Talk Radio family. Thank you, Bishop Luter. Thank you, all of you that made it possible. We were live in the studio, and my makeup daughter, she came in there. So happy that she came in. And then my daughter, Regina, she came in. Everybody just dropped by the studio, and we were able to just have a good time. And they gave us extended time.
They gave us extended time.
Extended time. And as soon as we finished that, I just want you to know, once we finished that, Pastor Don Mixon and the Mount Calvary Holy Church, Huntington, New York, they allowed us to preach the word of the Lord there that night. And I mean, we had such a bananas time in there. So we thank you all, New York, for showing us so much love. Now, if you didn't come by the studio, you would have come by. I told them I was going to give away some free books if people came by. But since people didn't come by, I didn't give away free books. I gave airtime to the ones that came by. I ain't giving no free books because you all didn't come. But I want you all, whenever we're in your hood, in your neck of the woods, please stop in and see us, check on us and everything like that. Talk to them,
Please
Johnson.
do. So thank you. And then come to our neck of the woods. I'll
Yes.
give you information in a second. But if you want Pastor to be a part of your next engagement, it doesn't matter. He flies. You just heard him. He'll fly to you.
Yes, he
He'll
will.
come to your area. So you can do that by contacting me, Janice Sturdivant. And I could be reached at 301-736-2383. 301-736-2383.
Come on. I got my rockers.
301-736-2383.
in touch with us. We just have a great time. We enjoy ourselves. We're having fun. You know.
I wasn't ready for that. Like,
You weren't ready?
Yeah,
Well,
that was
I mean,
good.
I like it.
You
Yeah,
need
it felt
yours.
Spanish. Yeah, it felt.
I
Yeah.
just say, I got my
That was great. Please contact me, Janice Sturdivant, or if you just want to come and you say, look, I'm gonna be in the DC area for a little bit, and I need a church home. Come to Faith United Ministries.
Come on and do that.
7905 Fernham Lane.
Say that again.
7905 Fernham Lane.
Castanets.
7905 Fernham Lane.
I like that too.
We
We
had
just
fun.
we created. Did y'all hear my castanets?
Yes.
That was good.
Yes.
I didn't mean cast a net.
Right, they
I
trying to
said
say, wait, we going fishing?
castanets. Castanets.
We going fishing?
Castanets are what they're called. You all.
Go to District Heights, Maryland, and come visit us, y'all. We're like this, not just on screen. We love people. We love good people. So you gotta come by if you're in the Maryland area and come see us. Thank you, Lisa Chu. I appreciate that. She put the information out
put
there.
it up there.
Thank you, and come visit us and tell them why they should come visit us on October.
They need to come by here
13th.
October 13th
Yes.
from 10 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon.
Yes.
I'm just telling you all, we have been marrying our broadcast, whether it's the early morning broadcast, which is dealing with family dysfunctions, and then the afternoon broadcast that is dealing with love, how we perceive love, how we give love. We have married, see, the two broadcasts and marrying,
Yeah.
because the dysfunction in the family comes as a result of something that did not marry right, that did not come together, did not merge, did not connect right. And what we are doing on the 13th of October is we are having a family conference, and we shared it. Those of you, you've already seen it maybe on my Facebook page or on Janice's Facebook page, and we've talked about it. You saw a group of us together. It was me standing with my wife and several of my children, both natural and spiritual, because I got a rack of kids. And that's the whole dynamic of how families are now. It's not made up of just your own. You got other people who are like family, like Steph. I shared this earlier today. I said, Steph is not my natural birth daughter, even though it's funny when we go places, they can say, you look just like your father. That's always so funny to me. But they say that once you are around someone long enough, you start to look like them. So Steph is not my natural birth daughter, but she's been in my life so long until she really believes that she's actually
Oh yeah, you can't argue that with
my
me.
daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, she said it again. She's like, I am. Like taking God's name. I am.
I am.
You know?
I am.
And so we want to invite you to come out to our not Black Lives Matter, not Blue Lives Matter, not All Lives Matter, not Blue Line Matters. We are asking you to come out because Black love matters.
It does.
And so we are doing Family Matters because it's all about love. What holds the family together is how we understand and entertain or receive or give love. So we are doing this on Saturday, October the 13th from 10 o'clock until 2 o'clock. We are inviting every one of you to please come. Come to the DMV area. It's just for that day. You can stay over and want to join us and be in church with us and have a just great time in the Lord. But I want you to come there. We are giving you the tools to work with. We're going to be very transparent. My children are going to be here. All my kids will be here. My spiritual kids are going to be here. You're going to see Steph. We're going to all be talking because blended family is not just when you get married to someone and then their children come into it. Blended family may be sometimes you've taken in someone who had no other family.
Yeah.
Or you've connected with someone who is just like family until you can't even remember when you all weren't family. We're pulling it together. We're bringing it all in, the different dynamics, the different walks of life, how family is perceived. We want you all to come and be a part of that. My mother, the matriarch of our family, 96 years old. We're looking to have her here. My mother-in-law, my wife's mother is going to be here, 79 years old. And then I've got some of my spiritual children that are going to be here, and they're going to talk about the time they've spent in the house, lived in the house, been around us. all of those types of things, And I want you all to come and be here. We'll have family counselors here. We'll give you the tools to work with, information. We're going to give you handouts and things that you can use. We're going to, while we are here, we're going to have things that are going to break down walls of dysfunction in the family. We're going to have some things you have to work together with as family, work on as family, so that you can do it. And then, what's the vision for your family?
Yeah.
What's the vision for your family? Where does your family, I know what you're saying you want to be in 3 years, but where does your family going to be in 3 years? If you're moving, then is your family moving with you? If this is where you're going to be in 5 years, is your family going to be still stuck at the same place? What's going to happen? So we're going to help you with getting vision boards and things of that nature. So I want everybody to come and be a part of this. We're extremely, extremely excited about it. And this is really the brainchild of Janice. This is her baby. This is what she wants to do. Out of all of my children, even with my wife and myself, she is the one that is most family oriented in our family. It doesn't mean that others don't have the concept of family, but she's the one that puts together everything, whether it's let's remember everybody's birthday. Let's remember that we're supposed to be together for Thanksgiving. Let's remember that we're supposed to be together for Christmas. How can you not be coming for this? We're celebrating this. She is one that has such a passion for family, and that's one of the God-like traits, because God says, I'm doing everything I'm doing, and here's what he said in his word, until all the family is one. Even Jesus, going off the scene, said, Father, I want you to do something for all of my disciples that have been my brothers and my mentees while I was here. He says, I'm coming back to you, but make them one as you and I are one. The whole picture of heaven is about family. Old Testament talked about God as a judge. New Testament had God send a son so that by accepting a son, we could call God Father and not call him Judge.
Wow.
God is a family man. And we did not know that until his son came, because until you see what makes a father and a mother is that there must be a child.
Right.
If there's not a child, then all a man is a man. All a woman is a woman. But a child makes a family. And so we sometimes discard and we abuse and throw away the children and don't realize that they're the only reason why we are family.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's powerful.
I was giving too much teaching. I should have been saving that for
that's the
the
lesson to that.
13th, But listen, tell them what they've got to do, because we've made it affordable for everyone.
It's very affordable for those that are 18 and up. It's only $20. That includes
Did you hear
everything.
that?
It's $20 and it's a luncheon included. So we're going to feed you as you become educated as well.
Wow.
And then for those that age between 12 and 17, it's $15.
There's my cousin Ty Crawford said he's been trying to make it on that day.
Please come, family. Come on.
Bring your
Come on.
sisters with you, man.
Cuzzo, please come. And then those 11 and under, it is only $10. 20, 15, 10. You can come, everybody, the kids, everybody come. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a blessing. So we inviting you all. Steph got her mom and her people coming. We all gonna be in here together. So that's it for the
And
13th.
Steph's mom is like my sister,
She
Everything is just kind of.
I saw that she texted us because she was trying to figure out where were we just now.
Yeah, she was texting us trying to figure out how come we weren't on the air, But I mean, and that's how close the family has become. We're just kind of like that. We didn't all come up in the same church. We didn't all come up under the same whatever. But what put us together, I believe, was ordained by God, because now we're at a stage where, can you imagine not being together?
Yeah.
I'm always amazed with people who come to the ministry. They're like, "Oh, you my father, you my mother, y'all my sister, but I ain't never going nowhere." And the next thing you know, it's like, where y'all at?
Yeah.
Right.
Where y'all at? Because I'm now trying to figure out, and here's what the Lord has helped me with, and that is, if someone has been coming from a broken home where there was divorce, or they are coming to the ministry and they have gone through a broken marriage, or they are coming and they have had a broken heart, how can we realistically expect them to be a whole, committed person when everything in their life has been shattered, broken, fragmented? And that really is going to help some pastors. I'm helping myself while I'm talking. Is that, you're sometimes thinking that people are not committed. They never stayed committed to their family. They weren't committed to their mother. They weren't committed to their father. They weren't committed to their sister. They weren't committed to their brother. They were never committed. They didn't even keep their own promise to themselves. I'm not going to leave the house without making up my bed. And then you left the house and then you let yourself down. You told yourself, I swear for God, I ain't never going back to that again. And even though you did that and made that promise to yourself, you backslid. Which means that now you don't even trust your own word to yourself. So now how can you trust someone else giving you their word when you let yourself down with your own word and you can only love your neighbor as yourself? So you see your neighbor as being untrustworthy, not because they were untrustworthy, but because you had already started doubting you.
Yeah.
And because you've doubted you, now you doubt everybody else. Because you see everybody through the screen, SCREEN, of your own soulish realm. Your soul is your mind, will, emotions, desire, and intellect. And because you have not kept your word to you. You said when the new year started, you were going to set aside $20 every week. And you ain't set aside no money every week. And now here you are getting ready to go into October and don't have a dime saved. And yet, you're talking about, I want to have my own house by such and such time. You can't have your house if you are so undisciplined till you can't even keep your word to you. So how are you going to expect somebody to believe when you say to them, will you marry me? And they say, I do. How are they going to believe that you will do when it comes to you, you won't? Oh my goodness gracious. So, I'm not even in the teaching part yet. I'm just talking. That's why you have to come and be a part of what we are doing, what we are giving, what we are perceiving.
It answers a lot of questions that everybody asks, whether it's male or female. We ask these questions to ourselves. We were just talking about it today after the first broadcast, as far as just sometimes you find yourself in a place where you're kind of stuck a little bit.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I supposed to do? Or if what I'm doing is the best thing for me right now, or if I'm headed in the right direction, or why do I connect with some of the people that I connect with, or why do I disconnect from the people that are good for me, and why do I hang on to people that aren't good for me? So all those questions that I know that we as females, we kind of ask ourselves
Sharon
these.
Dorsey just chimed in.
See, and we all have been in those places emotionally and mentally, and we ask these questions. But this why this event is so important, because we'll have family counselors, they'll be there, but then it will also give you an understanding as to how you are individually and how each individual makes up the family, whether it's your strengths and my weaknesses or my flaws. And, we all have those things, strengths, weaknesses, flaws and goods, but how each one plays a part and how it affects the relationship.
And you know what's crazy is that sometimes, you made the statement just now, you were saying that, why do I hold on to some people I shouldn't hold on to and let go of people that I should be holding on to and everything? And it's, for example, Steph may be strong in an area that I'm weak in.
Yeah.
So every time I am operating out of my weakness, when Steph comes to me in the strength of what I'm weak in, guess what Steph's going to do? She's going to irritate me. Yeah. Not because she is coming to irritate me, but just walking in strength when I'm wanting to stay in weakness. Now you irritate me. Can't stand Steph. Get on my nerve. Every time I say something, she got something else to say. That she ain't never got nothing good to say. She never agree with me. No, it's that you have to have somebody. We read it in our session earlier today, that God said to Adam, I'm going to give you a helpmeet that is comparable, that is comparable, that will complete you. Meaning you don't get someone that is just like you. Someone said they're glad that they got our teaching and everything. You don't want anybody that's just like you. Listen, if you get on your nerves, why do you want somebody just like you? It's like, God, I can't stand myself.
Every day we're going to be upset.
I was like, I can't stand me. So then I start cutting.
Yeah, releasing.
Yeah, because I've got to. And the reason why we cut is because there's pain on the inside that we cannot express. And so we do physical pain so that we can feel something physical to make up for what we are not dealing with emotionally. See, you all think that some of this stuff is new and just coming on the scene. It ain't new. It ain't something that's just coming on the scene. I'm going to show it to you right now, and I'm about to mess you all up. If you all, I hope you all read the Bible from time to time. I love this book, but every now and then you'll wind up reading something that will mess you up. Okay, and in Mark chapter number 5, it says, then they came to the other side of the sea of the country of the Gadarenes, and the Gadarenes, that's a place that is from the troops of Gadara. Gadara. Now the tribe of Gad was a part of the team that came out of Egypt, led by Moses. But then when they were going into the promised land, they said, we good right here. We don't want to go into the promised land. Moses said, okay, you don't have to go into the promised land, but anytime a fight comes up, since you are the troops, or Gad were the ones of the troops, said, whenever we get into a fight, you got to come and help us fight. They said, okay. They settled short of their promise. And as a result of settling short of their promise, they became known for their tombs and their pigs. Because they settled short of their promised land. They got into something that was not in their character, pigs, because Orthodox Jews had nothing to do with pigs. And they were a place that folk died. So they were known as their monuments or their tourist site of tombs and pigs. So when you see Jesus coming to the coast of Gadarenes or Gadara, this is the tribe of Gad that stopped short and is now living beneath their potential, living beneath the land of milk and honey they were supposed to be going into, living beneath what God had for them. Because there are some people that know what they are supposed to have, but because they don't have the push, the desire, the drive to go after it, they stop short of where they're supposed to be, and then wind up attracting things they would have never attracted, or having things die that would have never died as they gone on into their destiny. And I'm talking to somebody right now, and Janice, you're getting ready to start reading in verse number 2 of Mark 5, verse 2 of Mark 5. But I'm talking to somebody right now, and you have now got stuff attached to you, old habits, old addictions you can't shake, and you're thinking that it's you. And you have also had dreams die, opportunities die, jobs die, lost houses, lost cars, lost things that you were supposed to be holding on to. Some of you even got inheritances that you didn't even have to pay to get. And even after you got them, you lost them. I know I'm talking to you right now. And the reason why is because you stopped short of what you were supposed to do and be. You let everybody else go on ahead of you, and now you're frustrated where you are because you know that where you are is not where you're supposed to be, but you've settled. That's what the Gadarenes country is really a sign of people who settled. Why did they settle? Because they got out of Egypt, out from Pharaoh, through the Red Sea, got out of eating, all of the leeks and the garlics. They got out of making brick without straw. They got out of the plagues, and all of those deliverances made them settle for just getting out. But I shared over here in our ministry that you are never really delivered until you are in what you got out for. Because just because you got out doesn't mean you're going to get in. And this case in Mark chapter number 5, that's why many people don't even know the history behind this. They're just talking about a man running around buck naked, up in the tombs. But you don't understand. That man would have never had the opportunity to be buck naked in the tombs if the father of that place, the troop of Gad, had gone on to their destiny as opposed to stopping short of what God had for them. Man, I'm challenging somebody right now. Pick your dream back up and go all the way. Right. Yes, it may be about 5 years too late, but it's better to be 5 years too late than 50 years later with regrets. Right. Pick up your dream and go on all the way. Leave who you got to leave. Walk away from who you got to walk away from. Start over if you got to start over. Let them talk about you if they want to talk about you. The same ones that right now I'll be talking about you saying, why are you doing it? Well, 10 years from now, I'll be asking, how'd you get it done? Right. Let them say whatever they got to say, but you go after your destiny. Please read, daughter.
And when he had come out of the boat.
Now you have to understand, this is Jesus now coming through a storm. He came through the storm, Mark 4, 35 through 41. Mark 4, 35 through 41. Most of us only talk about Jesus saying, peace be still, and the wind and the waves cease. We got that, but the question is, why did he calm that storm to get to this other side? What was on this other side? What was on the other side was a man who was in a place that was beneath what his greatness was, and he had made himself comfortable there. And I want to watch a couple of things that it says here, and hopefully I can get something out. Come on.
And when he had come out of the boat, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit.
The man's got an unclean spirit. You're going to find out later on that she's reading. He's got about a legion, and a legion is somewhere around 6,000 unclean spirits, 6,000 demons in him. And let's see what's happening with these demons in him. This man comes and greets him. This is not a welcome wagon. This ain't no Avon wagon. This is not, hey, welcome to Gadara. No, this is a man that is demonic possessed, and he is coming running after someone because most people always ran from him whenever he ran at them. But go on and read.
Who had his dwelling among the tombs, and no one could bind him, not even with chains, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains.
Listen to this. This is a man that was comfortable in the tombs. I'm trying to figure out, why would a man be comfortable sleeping amongst dead, decaying bodies? I mean, the stench of death, the smell of death. You know, some people can't even handle to look at a person who is made up in a casket. This is a guy who is in the dark, musty, moldy tombs where dead bodies are. And they're smelling and they're decaying, the flies, the maggots, and he's comfortable in that area. Why is that? Ready? Because somebody who is already spiritually dead is comfortable being around folk who are physically dead. The reason why there are some things that you are comfortable around is because some part of you has already died. And so you feel a kinship. It may be this is physical death and this is spiritual death, but the common denominator is death. And so because there is death, then there is I feel comfortable in this because death is the common denominator.
Wow.
That's why you'll find people, this person may be addicted to K3, this one may be addicted to drugs, this one may be addicted to alcohol, this one may be addicted to sex, this one may be addicted to whatever, but they seem to always get along. We've seen it in the ministry where folk who are total strangers come into the ministry and then connect. You try to figure out, you don't even know them. How you all become auntie, how y'all become BFF, how y'all become that in 1 week's time, because like spirits are attracted to like spirits. Come on, read now.
And the chains had been pulled apart by him, and the shackles broken in pieces.
Every time he has been put in any program, whether it was a 12-step program, whether it was the AA program, whatever program he was in, it always was able to, he would break out of it. That's what this is symbolized when it says the chains were broken or the fetters were plucked off. It is talking about man-made devices that are used to try to keep somebody in line. It says he plucked those things off. No man-made device could make him get his crazy self together. Let's see what else it does.
And always, night and day.
Night and day what?
He was in the mountains.
He's up in high places.
And in the tombs.
And in the tombs. Look at how he moves. He goes from being on a high place to being in a low place. There's no balance in his life. High place on a mountain, he can get moonlight. But down in the tombs, just darkness. He goes from being in light to being dark, to being high to being low, to being alone to being surrounded by dead things. And watch what else he's doing.
Crying out and cutting himself
Hollering
with stones.
and screaming and doing what?
Cutting himself with stones.
He's doing what?
Cutting himself with stones.
He's doing what?
Cutting himself with stones.
All of our young girls, our young guys, they've got it all on the internet. It is out there and they are cutting themselves. Why? Something has died. Something is not right on the inside. Something is not settled emotionally. Something is wrong relationally. Something's wrong with him relationally. He's comfortable around dead things. Something's Something's wrong with him emotionally. He'd rather be by himself and with dead things than with around living people. He doesn't want to be in any program, no 12-step program, no AA program. He doesn't want anybody to tell him anything. I feel better by myself. Keep me to myself. I feel better with these people who I know are dead rather than to be with these people who I know will challenge me with their life. He is just in a bad shape. So what does he do? He cannot express what he's really feeling. When he's talking to dead folk who cannot respond back to him. It's a mess when you are surrounded by people who have no answers for what you're feeling. It's a mess when you're surrounded by people and nobody has an anesthesia for everything you're dealing with. There's no panacea for your pain. There's nothing that can help you. And this man says, since I can't get any answers about what I'm feeling emotionally, I'm going to act like an animal. I'm going to go up on a mountain. I'm going to holler at the moon like a coyote, like a wolf does. I'm going to holler at the moon. And then when I come down from off of the mountain, I'm then going to find stones and I'm going to do self-mutilation. I'm going to hurt myself, cutting myself. Or in other words, I'm going to do what I know is not good for me, but at least it gives me life. Some years ago, the late great country western singer Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash had a song, and in the song he says, I cut myself today. He said, to see if I can feel. He says, the blood came streaming out. It's the only thing that's real. In other words, he is saying, I cut myself because I just want to know that since I'm numb on the inside, will what I do hurt me on the outside? It's a double-edged thing that's kind of dangerous. One, it is making yourself vulnerable, but it's also making you think you're invincible. Because if I can cut myself, I know I can bleed. But if I can keep doing it, it doesn't kill me, then I add more to it. And there are some people who have gotten to a point where they are either numbing themselves to life or they are living a life as they used to have back out in the 80s where it said self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction, where you will do things that you know could hurt you, but when you wake up and it didn't kill you, it then makes you emboldened where you go and do even more of it.
One of the things I've realized, and even working with the suicide hotline, and it's so real as far as the cutting of yourself, because when we do talk to some of the people that are going through these certain crises, and we ask them, what's your coping method? How do you release? And some would say, okay, well, I'll cut myself. And to them, it's a two-way thing. To them, cutting themselves is a good thing because at least I didn't commit suicide. I didn't end my life. Right. So instead of me going all the way to the severe, thing, I'm just going to cut myself to release. And then other would say, cutting myself kind of has me to see, okay, am I still able to feel? Because, now that my feelings are numb and I'm in this place emotionally, I don't know if feelings are there. So I do this physical thing to see if I'm still able to feel emotionally. And it's a real thing with cutting yourselves because a lot of people, that's their only way of escape.
That's their coping mechanism.
That's their coping thing. And some young people don't even know that, to them, that's instant. Like, they'll just go grab a razor and they'll just immediately start leaving these scars. And, we try to tell them, that's not the best thing. There's other ways. But if that's what they have already seen or what they know, then that's what they're used to.
And that's what each person tells each person. We tell people, and, they've got even on the internet, they've got where they're like groups for people who are cutting themselves. Sometimes they'll even tell them this can be a way to get attention. There are many things that are shared as a result of doing that. And parents will be saying, where did I go wrong? What's this? What's that? But it's the same thing, just like somebody introducing your child to alcohol or whatever else the other thing may be. Someone's introducing your child to this is the way that you can cope. This is another way. At least you're not getting on drugs. At least you're not doing it. There's the at least you.
Yeah, as if one is better than the other.
As hurting yourself one way is less painful than hurting yourself this way. You want to say anything, Steph, before I go on?
Yeah, just listening to that because, I never really was one to want to self-mutilate. And I grew up in a household where my sister, that was kind of her thing. And then, looking back on it, I just did it in a different way. If it was piercings or tattoos,
there you are.
I did it to the extreme.
Absolutely.
And I had so many at a young age where she had scars.
Exactly.
I just made mine into art.
Absolutely. And it is.
It's the same
it's
thing.
It's the same thing. What's the reason for why you're doing? And until you get to the root, you'll only focus on the fruit.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake that many times, it's like, girl, why you do this to yourself? Why you? And we're just focusing on the fruit instead of dealing with the root. And that's why we shared on the earlier broadcast that if there's a dysfunction, a lot of it starts with the parents, because there were parents on earth before there were children.
Yeah.
And there was Adam and Eve before there was Cain and Abel. And that's what we're going to get into next week when we go back to the earlier broadcast, is we're going to start dealing with the dysfunction. Where does it come from? But a lot of that, even in the areas that we're looking at this guy right now, I'm trying to figure out, where's his family?
Yeah. Who left them?
Where is it? Because he's by himself. What else is it saying about it? Because we wanted to get this on for the sake of people to see where cutting comes in, but it's opened up, and I know that somebody's being helped by this right now, because some good Christians cut themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about praise and worship, preaching, carrying out the word of God, leading people, counseling, and they are self-mutilating.
A lot of people don't have that, especially if you're in certain positions.
Come on.
And you carry a certain image. You know, you don't want to be perceived a certain way, so you bottle up a lot of stuff that you're going through emotionally, or you don't talk about what you're going through, and somehow all those things what you're going through inwardly is coming out, and cutting is one of the ways.
That's one of the ways.
Out.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Read some more about him.
The Bible says, then after he had went outside night and day. And
That's
he was
Mark
in the
5 verse what? Mark 5 verse?
Verse 5.
Verse 5. Come on.
In the mountains and in the tombs, crying out and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from afar, he ran and worshipped him.
Stop. Watch this. Here is a guy who has 6,000 demons. When you go down further, it's going to say he's got legion. Yet, the Bible says that while he is butt naked, while he is self-mutilating, while he is amongst dead people, while he is an extremist from being in the light of the moon to being in the dark of the tomb, while he is in between being on a high place to a low place, no balance in his life, the Bible says when he saw Jesus, it says he did what?
He ran and worshipped him.
Now here's a guy that's got 6,000 demons, a legion of demons in him. Yet he sees Jesus, and what does it say he does?
He ran and worshipped him.
He's self-mutilating, but when he saw Jesus, what?
He ran and worshipped him.
He is one that is living amongst dead folk, but when he saw Jesus,
he ran and worshipped him.
Now here is a guy that's got all of these issues, yet we've got folk who are not self-mutilating. We got folk who are saying, no, this, that, and the other. And when they come into the church of God, they can't praise, they can't worship, they can't do anything. If this man with all of his issues can worship with 6,000 demons, what's your excuse? Coming in the church with a stank attitude, saying, well, I ain't gonna do nothing today, I'm just here. What? How many demons must you have if this man has a legion and he can still worship?
The fact that he ran, he came out of his comfort zone.
He came out of his comfort zone, out of the mess he was in, and ran to where Jesus was. Now, Jesus just came out of a storm.
Right.
He's already wet. You know, the water was all up in the boat and everything. He's surrounded by doubting preachers. Don't you care that we perish? He's got all of them. Yet the man sees something in him. Read, please.
He ran and worshipped him, and he cried out with a loud voice and said, What have I to do with you, Jesus?
I wish you all could see the struggle that he's in between. Watch this. He's got a spirit to want to go worship, but while he's worshiping, then the demon spirits start talking. The demon spirits say, what do I have to do with you, Jesus, son of David, while he's worshiping? This is showing us the dichotomy, the divide between our divinity and our humanity. That sometimes a person can be sitting right in church, loving Jesus, and yet there's a spirit that they're battling with on the inside.
We're quick to medicate it.
Quick to medicate it. Come on.
We quick to say that this person is crazy.
Come on.
I don't think it's bipolar or that they have ADHD. It could just be something spiritual.
It's a spiritual issue. But we love putting medicine. You know, we try to, you cannot medicate a demon. You can't medicate a demon. You'll medicate the human part.
Sure.
But so that the demon does not have full working ability, but then he'll leave and go to somebody else, and now the individual is left being a zombie because of the medication. I'm helping somebody right now. I'm helping somebody. I know I am. I'm helping somebody right now, and if it's not you, it's somebody that's tied into you, and you're watching them trying to figure out why are they acting like they are acting. It's because we are both human and divine. We are made from the dust of the ground, but we've got the breath of God in us, and whichever one you feed is the one that is going to have control. Thank you, my daughter Gwen Thompson. So come on, what does it say? He is now, he's trying to worship, but he has got demons talking to him. What do, go ahead.
What have I to do with you, Jesus,
What
Son
have
of the Most High God?
did you hear this, demon? It's 6,000, but he says, what have I to do with you? Go ahead.
Jesus, Son of the Most High God.
Which means that demons recognize divine authority. Don't the devil recognize when there's authority? You try to figure out, how come I can't get this happening? Because you ain't got no divine authority. I just shared in our ministry on Sunday. Do you have the fire that will make a change? Don't blame everything. Start questioning yourself why you genuinely saved. It says that he says, what do I, singular, have to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High? Go ahead.
I implore you by God that you
implore you. There's one. Go ahead.
That you do not torment me.
That you do not torment me. There's singular. Go ahead. What do I have to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High? I implore you that you do not torment me. Go ahead.
For he said to him.
Jesus said to him, go ahead.
Come out of the man.
In other words, Jesus said, you got to come out, unclean spirit. Singular. Go ahead.
Then he asked him, what is your name?
Then Jesus asked him, the man, what is your name? I'm going to talk to the house and the inhabitants of the house. See who speaks up. What is your name? Go ahead.
And he answered, saying.
And he answered, meaning the owner of the house spoke, but he did not speak of his own accord. He spoke by virtue of the inhabitants. Go ahead.
My name is Legion.
My singular name is Legion. Multiple. Go ahead.
For we are many.
For we are many. Here is now one person speaking on behalf of thousands of voices that are inside of that person. And there's someone looking at me, watching me right now, and I've come on, and you need to get this to somebody because your deliverance is going to come. The reason why you are hearing a lot of voices is because there's some demonic activity coming on. And don't let the devil play with you. Talk about, I got a good angel on one shoulder and a bad angel on another shoulder. No, you got demons that are active on the inside of you, hearing and knowing the voice of God. There are only three primary voices: the voice of God, the voice of the enemy, and the voice of your own flesh. You've got God either talking, or you've got your own flesh talking, or you've got the enemy doing the multiplicity of the talking. It says here, that's right, Sharon Wallace, it is demons. Come on. And it says that he said, we, go ahead, are many. Go ahead.
Also, he begged him earnestly that he would not send them out of the country.
Now, they already know that the moment that Jesus comes, that we've got to change this thing. You're about to be evicted. So they said, we are many, but please don't miss this. In my book, Learning the Soil, I deal with this in chapters 6, 7, 8, 9. He said, do not send us out of the
country.
Now, many people will glaze over this, but listen to something that tells you about the characteristics of demons. He says, do not send
us
out of the
country.
In other words, demons are territorial. They want to own places. That's why demons will sit on a family. And you'll see an entire family struggle with the same thing. I've said it over and over again. Our family has certain spirits sitting on the bloodline. If you don't deal with it, you're going to see it manifested in just another way. He says, do not send us out of the country. We want to take control of this country. You can send us out of the man.
Right.
But don't send us out of the country.
Yeah.
What is he saying? Get us out of him, yes. But we know that there's somebody else that's vulnerable. We know that there's somebody else that we can get into. We know that just because you send us out of this person, if we stay in this church, this spirit can jump on somebody else. Do not send us out of the country. Go ahead.
Now a large herd of swine was feeding.
A large herd of swine were feeding. Go ahead.
Near the mountains. So all the demons begged him, saying, send us to the swine.
Tells you something about demons. Not only are demons territorial, but demons are dirty.
Yes.
Send us into the swine.
Yes.
Send us into something unclean. Send us into something that does not have a covenant with God. Remember, Jews do not touch pork. pigs, anything to do with it. Gadara, Gad, they stopped short of where they were supposed to be. They lost their covenant relationship with God. And by no longer having your close, intimate covenant relationship with God, you wind up being open for demonic activity. It is not just something, I just missed a Sunday, I just stopped reading my Bible, no, you have opened up yourself to have demonic activity, and the demons know who is vulnerable. Send us into the dirty, uncovenant keeping swine. And watch what happens very quickly. I'm going to open this up some more later.
And that once Jesus gave them permission,
they had to give permission. Jesus said, well, hey, go on in the pigs then. Go ahead.
Then the unclean spirits went out and entered the swine. There were about 2,000.
2,000 swine.
And the herd ran violently down the steep places into the sea.
Now watch this. 2,000 swine, 6,000 demons.
Yeah.
That means there were 3 demons to every swine.
Yeah.
Trinity. There were 3 demons to every swine. And watch what the pigs did. The pigs said, rather than let demons live in me, I will kill myself.
Wow.
The reason why people keep having the suicidal tendencies is because rather than deal with the pain of the voices, the pain of the activity that I have no control over, I'd rather kill myself. My time is up. God bless you, Church Talk Radio. I know I done opened something up. I've left you for cliffhanger. I want you to come back next week. Do me a favor, YouTube family. Please share this with somebody else. And if you don't have a ministry, please come be a part of Faith United Ministry. There are plenty of seats. We got people leaving here hand over fist. Why? Because I'm going to get you straight talk. I can't play with you, not in this season of your life. Your friends don't love you enough to tell you the truth, and I love you too much to lie to you. I am J.E. Sturdivant, and you are? And you are?
I am Janice.
And get ready because our t-shirts are coming and they're going to say this. Some people are on the air because they like the way they sound on the air. Others are on the air because they can afford to be on the air. But we're on the air because what? We got something to say. What?
We got something to say. We got something to say.
God bless you. We love you. We're out of here.
YouTube.
Listen, YouTube, please share this. This was some good stuff today. This was heavy
This
today.
wasn't even the original subject.
This was not the teaching.
This was not the teaching.
We were supposed to be dealing with, how deep is your love?
Yeah. But see, this is what
And instead, the pigs ran down the deep. I don't love being controlled by demons.
Right.
We want to invite you to come be a part of this. Come be a part of this. I want you all to know that we're doing this. We're emptying ourselves. We're going through our own pains, our own issues, because we want to go through what we have to go through to help you to get through what you're going through. We love you. We appreciate you. Till next week, we out of here.